checking out this video. Don't forget, like and subscribe. All right, Saudi Arabia and AEW.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a question that's been going around about what do you think? Do you think they should do a show on that weekend?
Well, they need to do a show head-to-head at some point. And I don't care when, but it needs to be done for experimental purposes.
I wouldn't do it.
Now,
as far as that weekend is completely different because it's a total unique situation. I mean, I've heard the arguments on both sides. I've played the arguments on both sides in my head all weekend, and I haven't come to a strong conclusion either way because there's like a goodwill thing where you can go like you're kind of making yourself into being the goodwill promotion by putting the big show on in the United States while the other guys are in Saudi Arabia. So North American fans will have their big show. But I don't know that it's necessarily going to work because it's AEW and it's, the WWE disenfranchised fans were mad about this. By the way, the tickets, just to tell people, because I got something from gambling.com and they scoured the hotel rates and ever since Friday in that announcement, the hotels have jacked up ticket prices. Not a great amount yet, but they're planning on doing more for WrestleMania week with the idea that because everyone knows there's no WrestleMania in 2027, they believe the demand for hotels for WrestleMania in 2026 in Las Vegas will be way up from what they originally expected because of that announcement. So if you're going to get a ticket for WrestleMania, as far as not a ticket but a hotel, right now, I would say it would be really good to have gotten it on Thursday, but the Vegas. Most places are jacking it up now, so that was one thing that I found out today. But anyway, on both, it's kind of like, there's people want that weekend. You know what I mean? They want their WrestleCon and they want their Tokyo Joshi Pro and they want their, shows from all over the world. You know what I mean? Like they get at WrestleMania weekend. And they know they're not going to get that in 2027 in Saudi Arabia because most of those companies aren't going to go to Saudi Arabia and most of those fans aren't going to go to Saudi Arabia either. But, one of the reasons that these companies do it is because they expect whatever the real number is, 50,000, 75,000 tourists coming to a thing. And I don't know that, put it this way, AEW is not going to bring in that many tourists. They'll bring in some, depends on where you put it. I mean, you could put it in Vegas, make it familiar. You could get some tourists. I don't know if it's enough to get all these companies or to have these companies have enough confidence to come from all over the world for an AEW weekend. But they might. The other thing is that, again, because all these companies are looking at maximizing their revenue, they're not looking for being do-gooders and wrestling in people's eyes. The reality is there's a 2-day SummerSlam, and SummerSlam is going to be bigger than an AEW show next year. Unless, or in 2027, unless, things can change, obviously, over the course of 2 years. But most likely, if it's anything
well, if
like
the
right
whole
now,
thing is about goodwill, like we're going to run a big show in this country because there's no WrestleMania in this country.
There's still going to be a SummerSlam.
It doesn't have to be, well, even if you're going to do an AEW show, it doesn't have to be Mania weekend. You could try to make All In that big weekend. Well, it doesn't have to be on the same day as WrestleMania. Well, you run it the same day as WrestleMania if you want to try to fuck with him or find out what it would do going head-to-head. I mean, it doesn't have to be on that day to do goodwill for the fans.
Okay, first of all, you can't fuck with them. They're getting $100 million plus. It's untouchable. You cannot hurt them. They're making more money than anything. There is nothing that can be done on that day that would hurt WWE. And the reality is that show, because it's in Saudi Arabia, is going to be on in the morning anyway. And if you do a show, it's going to be at night. So you're not going to go head to head anyway. So it's like, it's not about hurting WWE because there's nothing they can do to hurt WWE. to run on that day. If they're going to do it, it's about the idea that somehow they can get this idea that they're giving you a show on that weekend. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. Like I said, it's going to take a long time for me to figure out because the lay of the land in 2027, nobody knows anyway. But, I mean, I see it from so many people making that argument. But, yeah, no, you can do it. They probably should do a stadium show, but that doesn't mean that everyone in the world is going to run their stuff and WrestleCon's going to have their biggest thing there, because everyone that wants to run something big in the United States, they're going to pick, if there's no WrestleMania, they're going to pick what they perceive to be the biggest show in the United States. So that'll be Royal Rumble weekend, or that'll be SummerSlam weekend, and probably SummerSlam weekend just because there's 2 shows from WWE, whereas Rumble right now is only 1 show. So, but I mean, as far as just doing a show in July or August or whatever in a stadium, I mean, I think AEW should do a stadium show. It's weird because, they've got that all in thing, I should say, like built up to be this big event. And All In is probably, going to be in Wembley most years. I mean, I think it might be better to do Wembley every other year. I guess we'll find out this coming year because they're going to do Wembley this year. And then the other year, maybe try to do something in the United States. But depending on how Wembley does this year, it may be advantageous for it to always be Wembley, because if they can do 50,000 in Wembley, there's nowhere they're going to do 50,000 in the United States. If they can't do 50,000 in Wembley and they do 35, then, it's like, man, maybe you should revolve it in the United States and do All In, another, whatever, Allegiant Stadium in Vegas, or, rotate it, but do a big stadium show. But they've proven, the success of the Arlington show does show that they can do a stadium show in the United States, probably looking at a 35,000 seat stadium as probably, a better fit than a 60, just because of, again, what the sales were for Arlington.
Hey guys, did you love this clip? If so, you should join our channel. Just hit the join button, and you'll have full access to every single show that we do. Wrestling Observer Live, Wrestling Observer Radio, The Bryan and Vinny Show, all of them in full HD, full length, plus archives of all of your favorite shows. Click join today and don't miss out.